Hello, welcome to Post-Colonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and I'm recording this in my hotel room in Pakistan, where I am delivering a few lectures on various aspects of literary studies. So today I thought I should share a few thoughts about some of the most intelligent questions that I heard yesterday from the conference participants. And this question was very pertinent to the profession, the professoriate itself. Because we were talking about research and how to become productive scholars, and a question one of the participants raised was, what about those who just love to teach and don't want to do research? And it's really a very important question because, some people just enjoy the teaching part of the profession and have no interest in publishing or researching for publication. And as I thought about it and as I was answering the question, I realized that the American Academy, where I used to be a professor, had already figured that out, right? Because we have liberal arts colleges where the professors are not required to publish, right? It's not connected to their so-called evaluation as for their productivity. They are basically required to focus on teaching. Similarly, at community colleges, the same kind of principles apply. It's only at the research universities that tenure track professors and tenured professors are required to publish to maintain their jobs and their status as faculty. But even at research universities, there are different tracks, right? There are the research professors, but then there are lecturers, there are adjunct professors, and their job is primarily just to teach the classes. Now, it goes without saying that part of having lecturers and adjuncts at research universities and graduate teaching assistants, the universities don't do it out of their goodwill. They are trying to cheapen labor, right? So they can hire the lecturers even though they sometimes have the same qualifications, but they can hire them for less money and can ask them to teach more courses, right? So it's not sinister, but that is a truth we ought to acknowledge. That's why I used to tell my students when I was a tenured professor that I personally do not care how they treated me, but I always told them that be kind and generous to your lecturers and teaching assistants because their positions are precarious, they are contract positions, and that they are overworked and often underpaid. So keeping this in mind, there is a possibility that someone who doesn't want to publish and doesn't want to do research but loves to be in a classroom, loves to teach, they should have option to just opt for that. Now, the problem I see within the Pakistani context is that there is sort of a one-shoe-fits-all kind of policy that has been developed. So your professional success and your promotions as professors and lecturers are connected to publications. And the distinction is not really made as to whether you're a research appointment or you're primarily a teaching appointment. So because if you have a high teaching load, chances are you don't have enough time to research and publish. And so my answer to that question to the participant was that yes, absolutely. If someone wants to just teach and enjoy teaching and is good at it, they shouldn't have to worry about publishing and doing research. That option should be there. And then beyond that, we also went into like the structural problems that schools and universities have over here. And that to expect the faculty to publish or even teach effectively, of course, they should be paid well, but also they should be given the resources, right? The staff, their job is to facilitate that. They should have access to library resources. They should have access to administrative resources where they can contact someone, they can email someone if they need technical support, if they need to get their class materials prepared. And unless those systems are in place, then the teachers then end up carrying most of the burden, right? So these are some of the things that come to my mind when someone poses a question about teaching. But there is one thing that we all must keep in mind, even if we have a teaching position, is that we still need to stay current on our subject matter. So even if you're not doing active research, part of your time, whatever you have left, should also be spent on reading what's happening in the subjects you're teaching, where the debates are, so that you don't end up recycling ideas that have long gone. So whether you research or not, or publish or not, as a teaching professor, as a lecturer, I would highly recommend to at least read on your subject and read what is the new research out, what are the new thought processes developing, so that you can incorporate them, those thoughts, those ideas, in your teaching. So teaching will, of course, be and should be informed by contemporary research on your subject matter. Beyond that, I would just like to say that this has been a really exhilarating experience for me to be in front of these workshop participants on so many levels, but more importantly on the level that I am no longer an active professor. And whether good or bad, whether my students liked my style or not, and whether I was an effective teacher or not, is obviously not my decision to say. It is the students who decide that. But I personally enjoyed being in a classroom. I enjoyed interacting with my students. I enjoyed, I miss learning from them, new things, new ways of looking at things. And so these workshops, after about an 8-month hiatus from formal classroom teachings, in a way, personally, to me, are very invigorating because they have kind of reminded me that, give or take here and there, that I can still teach, and that given a chance, I'm a good enough teacher, right? And when we are down in the world, when the world has kind of, not defeated us, but ousted us from our comfort zone or from what we might have built very carefully with labor and love, we need reassurances like that to restore our faith in ourselves, to restore our faith in people, that they can be decent, they can be kind, they can be generous, and that their response to you isn't simply attached to what you can do for them, that they can respect you for just being who you are. So these workshops have been really an amazing experience for me. But to coming back to the question of whether there should be teaching positions, yes, absolutely, but with a caveat that they should not be exploited labor, right? They shouldn't be paid less because they're just teachers. Secondly, come together. I know there is a large national union of lecturers and contingent labor. Come together and lobby for better facilities, for better salaries, but also for more streamlined policies about your value and how you're evaluated, and then become an active constituency or part of an active constituency. But I hope this answers your question. Thank you so much for your time, those who are in my workshop, but also for your time in watching this video and staying with me until the end. I hope there was something useful in it for you. Do let me know what your thoughts are, what you think, and I will now come back with something else in a few days, and I hope you post some questions or suggestions so that I can follow through on those. As always, stay safe, take care of each other, be generous and kind, and from me to you, I say always at the end of every video, peace and love.